Hello, dreamers and tarot readers. This is Janet Pietolato, the author of the Mystical Dream Tarot, and I'm here once again to share with you a reading that I have just put together with these wonderful dream images. Before you is a roaring fire, the fire of the imagination, helping each and every one of us to enter into that fire, which transforms mere wood into warmth. The fire which helps us to become strong, which brings us new ideas and helps us enter into the imagination. I've shuffled the cards, and today I've drawn 3 cards. The first of the cards is the image of the moon. We see upon that card a huge globe of the moon, and below it we see a home, and we see waters, fierce waters, raging against the home. The moon can represent many phases, the many phases of our life, the many phases of each and every one of us as we move from birth through youth to old age. The moon is the domain of the unconscious as well. It is a vessel of dreams, but in those great cycles of waxing and waning, the time of our life is one of growth and regression, of joy and sorrow. But as each one of the phases of the moon moves ever forward, we can have hope in knowing that no one phase is going to last forever. If it's joyful, we should appreciate it. And if it's sorrowful, we shall have hope that it too shall pass. For we are travelers, and the moon travels through the sky, showing us its many, many phases. As the depths of the unconscious are deeper than we will ever be able to plummet, so is the dream that we share of knowledge, of wisdom, of understanding. Shall we ever know it all? No, probably not. But we shall always seek it. The moon, like a cup, shall drip, drip, drip upon us, helping us to move through those phases, to meet challenges. What is the dream that we have? This first card represents that. We may have fierce waters banging against our stability, banging against our home. Perhaps it's interrupting our peace and our quiet. Perhaps there are worries. Perhaps there are illnesses. But the phases of the moon remind us once again that there are times in our life that we shall suffer, and times that we shall have joy. There shall be times to reap and times to sow. But always there is hope in the knowledge of something moving forward. So in a reading, as we see the moon, we're continually reminded of the different phases of life. We're reminded of the unconscious, which is always there to help us. We're also reminded that the moon in the watery depths of the unconscious is always there as a guide, moving through the dark sky, ever present even in its absence. What is it that we seek? We're on our pilgrimage, we're hurt, we're wounded, and sometimes we're blocked. There's great creativity in us, there's great hope, there's great promises. But there may also be confusion. Are we moving forward? Are we blocked? Is there something that we're missing? Is there something that we want? The waters of the unconscious are ever there before us. And for a moment, we're quiet. We're quiet and we think. There is a meditation on the moon. The moon like a cup, holding the heart of our emotions, tilting, dripping, tears upon a dry, parched earth, rain upon our souls. The moon continually in motion, riding high in the heavens, shining brightly, slicing to slivers before it disappears. Our emotions are our stories, varied in nature, always changing, sometimes mysterious, sometimes heartwarming, sometimes heart-wrenching and sorrowful. Yet like the moon, the stories of our life move on, continue on, carrying our emotions, richly filling the pages of our telling. The moon of our intuition births stories over and again, guiding us, each and every one of us. Our lives, like the moon, have many phases. Our stories are filled with many emotions. The moon continues to transit, reminding us of all that passes, each chapter opening to a new chapter, sometimes difficult, sometimes joyful, but in the end, always passing, always transiting. The moon holds the heart of our emotions, and we ask to be aware of the constant transit of the journey. Like the story of many chapters of our lives, we know that the dark and the light will always move, but the promise of renewal and rebirth always stays. And so in a reading, as we see the moon full and beautiful, we also know that the waters that bang against our home, that sometimes disturb our stability, flooding us with challenges, will pass as the moon transits through the sky. Our journey through life is about transit. Are we at a point of our life now where we are transiting from one phase to another? Are we moving like the seasons? Are we moving like the phases of the moon? Is there something new in our life that's about to happen? Is there a doorway about to open and change at our door? And so that would be the first card that we see. The second card is the sun in all its glory. As the moon transits the night, the sun transits the sky in the day. The ancient myths talked about the birth of the sun rising and spreading its warmth upon the earth. There are Indian traditions where the dance of the morning would help the sun to rise. There are ancient Egyptian myths of the god Ra rising from the depths of the underworld to shed light upon all that walked in the manifest. And on this card, we have the sun rising from the creative waters, and above it, we have a balance of sun and moon. We have the brilliance of the sun on one side, the darkness lighting, giving the light of the moon on the other. It is a card of balance, of something coming into daylight, where the moon travels through the waters of the unconscious. The sun travels through the waking reality of day. That first card that represented transit has perhaps shown that what was in the unconscious is now ready to manifest to the light of day. Is there a job that one was seeking? Is there a relationship that one felt was ready to move to a much stronger bond? Is there a move in house, in land, in travel, in friendship? One door is opening from the watery depths of the moon to the brilliance of day. The sun is a powerful energy. but it is an energy of day. The sun gives birth to all the green on the earth, the photosynthesis, the sunlight with oxygen, with water, with plant life. It is a time of healing. It is a time of manifesting the physical. Life with the sun is life that's supporting the growth of something new. As it supports the growth of the crops of the earth, so is it supporting the growth, perhaps, of a story that needs to be written, a writer that had writer's block and now is unblocked and ready to bring the story out into daylight, to find the publisher, to find the public that awaits for them. Perhaps it's a new invention, thoughts that were in the mind that are now going to be drawn on paper. Perhaps it's a question that's left hanging, a question that's now meant to be answered, a contract to be signed, a new home to be brought forward into wakingness, into the waking light of day, where the first card, the moon, is the watery depths of the unconscious and the transiting from one phase to another. The sun now is the manifestation. This is something that is ready to be made present in the light of daylight. This is something that is going to bring blessings. What is it? It's a card of good omen. Is there a new building? Is there construction? Is there new bonds? A new relationship? A new job? All of it waits to be brought into waking reality. And so we think of the transit of the moon and now come to the manifestation by the sun. And we think to ourselves, what is it? What is it? It is a blessing on a new day, entering into the new building of imagination. Perhaps after long and hard work, a dream is meant to be manifest. The light of this new endeavor is to reach day. It's to be manifest. This is the joy of an accomplishment. It's time to appreciate the glory, the success, and the achievement. The blaze of success is a triumph with the appearance of the sun. And in a reading, this would bring great joy for its accomplishment. The shallow memory of the journey through time, of the transit through the watery depths of the unconscious, through the hard work and challenges of the moon, are now going to be met with the joy of the manifestation in waking reality. This is the sun. This is the sun. It is to be brought into waking reality. And we move to the final card. And the final card is the joy of that creative act. That creative act which is now rising like a Venus rising from the petals of the lotus, from the waters of the unconscious, holding the creation, ready to let that bird go and fly so that all of creation sees it. This is a card of definite manifestation. The work has been done. The transit through the moon has been suffered. The challenges have been met. The sun is shining to allow the creation to be brought forward. And now the Creator holds their beautiful bird, their creation, ready to let that creation be released upon all the manifest, to fly into the skies. It is a card that shows that the work has been done and the time has been now to allow it to come. What is it? What is it that each one of us has been working with? What have we looked for? What have we dreamed of? What have we worked and gone through the many phases? We've done our work, and now is the time. Now is the time to see it manifest and to let it go. To let it go upon the earth, to share it, to share our creation with all those who wait for it. After the sun, after the moon, it is a time now. The lotus of creation is rising, a goddess of creativity, a god of all that has been created from the watery depths of the unconscious. The lotus takes its origin in the depths, and so does the creation take its origin in our imagination, in the landscape of dream and vision. For all that we produce comes from the mind first, the mind that is relaxed and allowed to sink into the depths of the unconscious, the dream consciousness, the visionary consciousness that allows it to find the gold within, the voice inside the imaginal, to bring forward that which has been there all along within us, waiting, moving like a sword in the fire to be transformed into something real. As the sun puts its light upon the green life and through photosynthesis creates all of the bounty of the earth within the vegetative forms, so does our imaginal mind, our imagination, the tool that functions within dream and vision. To dream the dream, to bring it forward into the waking light of the sun, and finally to hold it like the white dove of creation and release it to the new day. In this reading of 3 cards, we find great achievement, not overnight, but through the seasons of the moon, through challenges, through work, through plummeting the depths of the imaginal in the dream consciousness. We find the opportunity now to release it in day and bring it beyond ourselves to share with humanity. Were this a reading for another individual, one would say that they had reached a pivotal point in their life, that all the hard work that they did was now coming to a point of achievement. They had reached the portal beyond which now they would have success, and their successes would be released and shared with others. As a reading for ourselves, it would show great joy and great promise in all that was about to come. The fires of transformation that lay behind these cards indeed show that as those fires are hot, and one would put one hand within them and find that the hand would burn, this is the transit through the moon. The suffering, the work, the hard work, the sweat and the tears, in order to produce that which is light. As the fire gives light, that light brings light into the darkness, the light of our achievement, the light of the next step of our life, what's been incubating in the watery depths of the unconscious, finally to be released. The warmth that rises from that fire is the bird that rises from the hand of the maiden being the imaginal, the dream consciousness that allows what needs to be let go to move off and be shared. The act of creation is not meant to be selfishly held, but to be shared with many. It's time to release and to enjoy the product of our imaginal, of our dreams, for the dream has become reality. And so with just 3 cards, randomly chosen by shuffling a deck, the Dream Tarot can allow an individual to very quickly look at their life, look at the life of another, and find what it is that the dream wishes to bring forward. In this case, achievement. After a long road, after work, after perhaps some sorrows, one has finally reached the point of achievement. And so this is Janet Pitalotto, and once again, the Dream Tarot has given a reading that I hope will help and inspire each and every one of you to enter into your tarot cards and allow the imaginal, the voice of dream, the voice of vision, to lead you forward into a reading that guides and comforts and, like a companion, brings you along the way. Blessings and wishing you many dreams.